Today I'm going to be testing out a set of Marie's brand gouache. This was a budget set of gouache tubes that I got a while ago, along with a set of Marie's watercolors, which I previously did a review on. I really enjoyed that set, and a viewer left me a comment asking me whether I ever got around to reviewing the gouache set, which I had completely forgotten about until they reminded me, so thank you. It sort of got lost in my art supply stash, so hopefully it didn't just dry out completely. I bought this set online on Walmart's website, but you can also find it on Amazon, though the packaging has since changed. I paid around $12 Canadian for 18 tubes, which is a great price at about $1.50 per tube. I'll be using my trusty Go-To Canson mixed media paper to test this gouache. It's nice and sturdy, with a slight toothed texture, but it's not as pricey or as thick as watercolor paper. I'm very grateful that these tubes have an aluminum seal, as I forgot about them for over a year, and also because some of the caps came off the tubes inside the box. The first step will be to swatch the paints, something that I love doing. I made a little swatch book out of a photo album from the dollar store, and it's a great reference to keep on my desk. The paint maintained a good and even consistency. There was no separation in the tubes at all. This can be more of a problem with watercolor tubes, even the more expensive brands, but it is very easily remedied by mixing the paint inside the tube with a toothpick. Without proper pigment information, and also judging by the lower price point of this set, it's safe to assume that these paints are student grade, which just means that it's of a lesser quality and may not remain as vibrant for as long as artist grade, especially when exposed to direct sunlight. My first impression is that the colors are vibrant and smooth, with a decent coverage. My only issue is that the only color that didn't dry matte was the black, which has a definite sheen to it. And now for the real test, a full painting. I usually lighten or clean up the pencil lines of the drawing underneath if I'm using watercolors, because the transparent quality of the paint always shows them through. But in order to properly test the opacity of Marie's gouache, I'm purposely leaving my lines dark and messy. I'm starting with a pink wash out of habit, but also to see how it goes on as more of a watercolor effect by adding more water to thin the paint. Out of curiosity, I dug a little into the history of this company. Marie's is officially Shanghai SIIC Marie Painting Materials Co. Limited, a bit of a mouthful. Unfortunately, it seems that there is actually no Marie. It was a name likely chosen to appeal to Western markets. It was founded in 1919, and its products are sold in over 60 countries, making them very well established as a company. Marie's is a notable Chinese art supply manufacturer, and I've noticed more companies from China lately, such as Paul Rubens, which is a brand that I'm really familiar with and regularly use. Gouache that isn't acrylic-based, like the paint that I'm testing out right now, can be reactivated with water once it dries. I tried letting it dry out in the palette, and it didn't affect the paint negatively at all. This set could be used on the go in an empty tin. I've noticed a modern surge in gouache's popularity. When I was younger, I don't remember many people using it as much, but I'm seeing it a lot more on social media, especially with the jelly gouache sets. It's really become an affordable medium with a bold and colorful look. It's great to see people painting in our age of computer-generated images. Gouache is much more forgiving than watercolor because you can cover up your mistakes and just paint over them, which I had to do a few times with this painting, especially around my little character's face. Mixing colors was smooth, and they blended really well together. But when I added black to my green for the darker background and the gray bugs, I had to deal with the sheen problem. It ended up looking more like acrylic paint when it dried, which really bothered me because it was harder to photograph than if it had dried matte. So what do I think of these paints overall? They were definitely a good value for the price, but the shiny finish of the black was really annoying. I will probably just avoid using that color in the future. I'll probably swap it out for some other black gouache. But that being said, I can actually see myself using the rest of this set for doodles in my mixed media sketchbook or to supplement my usual gouache sets, which are my Caran d'Ache dry pans and my jelly gouache. I really liked the vibrance of the colors, especially the blues and the greens. The coverage was also really nice and opaque, as well as forgiving of my frequent hand flailing mistakes. If you can get this set for the price that I did, or at least for under $20, I say that it's a good little investment. It's a great set to be able to play around with without feeling like you're wasting expensive materials. And the tubes are a heck of a lot less messy than the jelly gouache, and more portable if you dry the colors out. Let me know if you've ever tried Marie's gouache for yourself, and what you thought, or if you have an even better budget set that you love to use. Happy painting, and thank you so much for watching.